for being here. We welcome you to the County Council meeting of April 8th, 2025. If you all would join me starting off the morning with honoring our country with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kind of like to start off again this month like we did last month with the department heads that are able to be here today. Just looking for something positive that's going on in your department right now that you can share with council. Tiffany, I'm going to let you have the floor.
For us, it's just tax bills went out on time. I'm sure you've all received them, and people have been coming in paying early, which is good, so they don't have quite the traffic near the end of payments. But that's why Kay's not here. She's a little busy.
Yep, I imagine. Rosemary.
We have been picking up again, which we're very thankful for. Houses are selling again. But this week we're especially happy to be in the recorder's office since all the yelling's going on next door.
Good, thank you for that. Mark.
Everything's going pretty good. The detention center is taking quite a bit of man hours to dial in, but we're getting it there. Kyle's out this week with his kids on spring break, so we're just pretty busy. We're getting the kitchen all finalized, the work release, starting on the rest of that project. But other than that, again, it's going good.
Good, thank you. Nathan.
The City Plan Commission approved the development plan for a new commercial building up in Armstrong Park last night, as well as split of the Culver's property to allow for an additional building site there. So those are positive commercial futures.
Very nice. Kim.
We have everything out on time as well. Everything's going timely for us. All of our data for our real property files will go to the printer next week, so your Form 11s are going to come at the end of the month. And on a positive note, I'm pretty positive it's probably going to be a really hectic year.
We like the way you turn that there and make it positive. Scott.
Positive news, this last quarter, or the first quarter of the year, got all the data from partners that were supported through the Health First Indiana monies, and a lot of work has been done there. Lots of free and reduced rides through transit, a lot of persons helped in our other clinical settings, so that was a positive note.
Very good. Ed?
Our newest probation officer, Kiara Lowe, I just received notification this morning that she successfully passed for her certification, her state certification. So now we have a full staff that's fully certified throughout probation.
Good for you. That's exciting.
Yes.
Brad.
I had the opportunity to go again to the annual Purdue Road School in March, a couple-day conference learning about the various things roadway related. Made some positive progress in continuing our section corner perpetuation program with Walker & Associates and other surveying firms, and continue to push out other drain and road projects.
Very good, thank you. Teresa, I know you guys get a commissioner's report, but is there anything positive that really is exciting you want to share with us just as a opener?
Rob, is there anything exciting?
There's a lot of good things going on. I don't have anything prepared at the moment, but
That's all right. Yeah. I thought you'd see it coming and maybe work through something, but you're fine. I'm sure we'll get it in the commissioner's report. I just didn't want you to feel left out this morning.
It's quiet, that's good.
We'll move to the agenda. First item on the agenda, please. Michael Ashby of the Peabody Library Board is requesting an appointment. If you'd like to come forward, please. a reappointment, I see.
Good morning.
Morning.
So Mark Parker is currently finishing up his first 4-year term on our board, appointed by the commissioners. We are seeking his reappointment. He has been doing a wonderful job. He wants to continue on the board. He's excited about the community and the board and the library, and is a great advocate for us. So we just seek your approval to reappoint Mark for another 4-year term.
Thank you. Any questions, please? Thank you, Michael. We have this spot to fill. Are there any nominations for the position of our appointment on the library board?
Have you gotten any?
I have had one person approach me, and that was as late as last evening, later in the evening, about interest in asking some questions, general questions, but that's all that I've heard. I know Mark Parker. I've known Mark Parker for a great many years. Seems to be a very fair, reasonable person. I've coached all his kids through wrestling at one point or another, and I'm comfortable myself with the information, that lack of information that I've gathered, but knowing Mark Parker, that we would that I would support him in a renomination for the position.
Well, I just have one comment. I know it's out in the public that it's up in May, and I'm afraid there's a misunderstanding at that point then. I thought we were voting on this in May, and I think that's what's been kind of going around, that it's up in May. I'd like to see us vote on this next month, just in case there's somebody waiting to step forward, because I think word out in the public is that it is in May. That's what I've been told.
Was this on our agenda last month? And we pushed it?
No, he
No,
had just
that was the
requested it be
alcohol
on
board.
this month.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying that because I know that's what I've heard.
I guess I kind of look at it as our responsibility to make the appointment to this position. And I think that this primarily should start with us reaching out, or with people that reach out to us to vet that request. So we all knew this. So my feelings would be that we move forward with it, but those are my feelings, that we move forward with it today.
So do you have some other people interested in the position?
I have been approached by at least one person saying they were, and they were going to reach out to you, but I don't know who you talked to. I'm just telling you what I've been told, that people are assuming the vote is in May. That's all I can tell you, that's all I know. And that's just from events I've been at. People come up and ask me. So.
And what Joanne said, I've also had one person reach out to me on it, and she has had an opportunity to talk to Thor on it. I am comfortable with postponing it till May.
I would agree with that.
Michael, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I agree with that. Give us a little time to get to know these two people, or these few people that you've spoken to.
I'm not aware of any time frame that has been announced when we were doing this. I'm not aware of any time frame.
Well, I think it's
his appointment was up in May.
When does this roll over, Michael?
May 5th is when his appointment expires.
And our meeting is May.
6th.
So it would only be a day later. Yeah. That would be perfect.
You need that as a motion.
When do you guys meet, please?
We meet the second Wednesday of the month.
So Mark is still certified to meet with you in this month.
Absolutely.
And whoever would be appointed then would be available for your next meeting. Yes, Tom, that would be great.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we postpone the Peabody appointment until May. If you get any more people interested, forward that to Tiffany, and then she can email it to us, and we can look them over, if you would, please. Yep.
And the person who reached out to me is Carrie Heineman. So if she would reach out to you guys to talk about the position, know that I've already had a conversation with her. And I would encourage all of us to share via email when someone reaches out to you or you had a conversation, so we can all have those conversations and prepare accordingly for next month's meeting. We will make an appointment next month so as not to hinder the operations of the library.
Yep. Yep, I agree.
And Tom's motion, I'm sorry, was there a second, please?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Tom and a second by Joan. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. And it's passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the RDC annual report presentation, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have copies of the slides for you guys. Looks like I forgot to change 2023 to 24 there. However, that is just a summary slide of why we're here. You might recall last year the state law went into effect that the annual report of the Redevelopment Commission needs to be presented to the fiscal body prior to April 15th. So we did this last year and we're doing it again this year. It's a financial report primarily. So Tiffany, as treasurer of the commission, can chime in with any additional details. And of course, my staff represent the commission. We've got Kim and Teresa who are members, and then Dale as well. If you've got questions as we go through this. So highlighting a couple accomplishments, and this is definitely last year's slides. Go forward one more. Yeah, those are not this year's numbers, Tiffany. So anyway, we'll go off of what's presented to you. So there on the front page, first slide, the accomplishments of the commission. A couple major ones, completion of the 100 South, 300 East sewer extension. That was in conjunction with the city sewer department. They have now taken it over. Primarily that provides sewer service to the future industrial park that has our spec building on it on 100 South, just east of Triad. That sewer also serves intervening properties that could, there is some availability to tie on. The 100 South reconstruction, which is reconstruction of the road itself, that's in design stage, that was started in 2024. Optimistically, it might still be able to get under construction yet in 2025, but at this point, because of bidding lead times and so on, it'll probably be early 2026 project. Another major accomplishment was the acquisition of the former Niedermeyer property on Miller River Road, 120 acres. That had been on the properties to acquire list since the TIF was established in the early 1990s. So finally it became available and the commission was able to acquire that basically directly from the state, the estate. And then you guys have been involved with some of the broadband initiatives as well, but the Redevelopment Commission also committed some funds towards that as well. Haven't yet really played out, but those commitments were made in 2022. So going to the next slide, or image on paper, is the overall financial revenue summary for 2024. You can see there the first segment are the TIF increments. Union TIF, which of course is our big one, was 2.8 million, give or take. Rail Connect, about a little less than $250,000 of revenue. Iotron Union, which is actually a subset of Union, but because they're a designated taxpayer, they are treated for accounting purposes separately. That was 131,000. And then Warwell, being new, had a little over $20,000 worth of TIF increment revenue. Grand total about 3.1 million, almost 3.2 million among all the different entities. For interest, because of the rising interest rates and the investments made by the treasurer, had about $300,000 worth of interest in 2024, which is really good. Previous years were much less. And then a couple additional miscellaneous items there listed below that. Going to the next page then, for accounting purposes, we broke out the expenditures per fund, and Tiffany can correct me if I'm wrong on what each one is, but I think I've got them right. The 4,500, which is the General Redevelopment Commission Fund, that would be for your non-TIF expenses, so things that aren't specific to a TIF but to the commission generally. In 2024, those items were listed as the board member stipends at $75 per meeting attended, as well as the required bonding and insurance. So total expenditure out of that fund was $4,850. Going to the next one, Union TIF, again, that's the big one. A lot of different numbers in there. Legal services was $19,884, a little higher than in some years, a little lower than in others. Overall. Consulting, a lot of those numbers related to the acquisition of the 120 acres. We have geotech engineering in there, we have appraisals, we have a survey, and so on. So those were there. Skipping down, contracted services, pictometry, that's a commitment to help fund our triannual aerial photography in the county. The commission felt that that was an important piece of the overall economic development picture. Rogers Lease, that is the agreement that we have with Rogers Company about the spec building, basically to underwrite that for, I believe, a period of 2 years. Let's see, Whitley County Engineer, that is reimbursement to the county engineer for drainage work done in the vicinity of 100,300 East and reconstruction of the drain tile through there. The total acquisition cost for that 120 acres was just over $2 million, so that was included there. Total bond payments were $635,000, and then we had a transfer to the 4,500 account. Going on then to the remaining TIF accounts, Rail Connect had no expenditures. Rail Connect and Union TIF are by agreement, I guess, when Rail Connect was implemented, they share funds, so any expenditures for Rail Connect are actually shown in Union as well as revenues are commingled. Iotron, again, as a designated taxpayer, that's all of their own funds being rechanneled back into their bond payments, so that was $74,000, and Larwell TIF didn't have any specific expenditures. Then Series A bonds. This is a bond that was issued a number of years ago that we still have funds remaining in, and about $1 million, a little over $1 million was spent of that bond, of those bond proceeds for the sewer extension. So we were using that bond for those, for that infrastructure. The account balances, year-end balances then on slide 8. Grand total remaining, or grand total funds available for the commission's use, both among the TIF increment as well as bond proceeds, is just over $11 million as of year end. So you can see the breakdown of where that all comes from. And then the remaining slides are per district themselves. You can see this is in black and white, so it's not exactly the easiest to see, but you can see the outline of each TIF area and then the obligations assigned to it for each union, as well as revenues, expenses, year-end balance per district. So I won't go into each one of those. Union was the one with, again, the biggest revenues and biggest expenditures, and Marvel Union had fairly minimal revenues and no expenditures. So any questions for me, Tiffany, anybody else about the Redevelopment Commission annual report?
Thank you for the report, Nathan.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the JDAI transfer request. Is there anybody here today to speak on behalf of this request?
I think they're on vacation.
Has everyone been able to read it and have a good understanding of what's being asked of this, or is this something that you would like to postpone a month until someone's here to answer questions and give a short, brief description on what the request is?
Being on the committee on it, I'm comfortable with what has been explained to us on it. I make a motion that we allow the transfer resolution that is requested.
There are three different amounts to be transferred. John, is that all part of your motion, is for all three of them?
The first one, which was transfer from, the last four is 8111 to 8211 for $1,000. Second one is from 8111, $750 to 8211. And the third transfer from 8111, that's $1,750 to 8211.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. And it's passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda, Scott Wagner, please.
Good morning. As in the last couple of months, we've had some funds that we've created for grants that was received at the Health Department. Part of this today is for that forward fund, Women's Health Fund 2, for the $2,800 that was given as a grant to the Health Department for women's wellness. So we're here today to have that appropriated. Have the commissioners have the money sitting there, just as we appropriate the account. And then the second item is a reimbursement of $131 from insurance, from liability insurance that was paid twice for one of our nurses. And that came back, and I'm asking that to be put back in the 1161 fund line item that's been requested.
So you have two.
Right. The Women's Health Fund appropriation and then the reimbursement of $131.
Do these need voted on separately, or can
We could vote on them probably together. There's only necessary for the first one,
the additional appropriation?
yeah, actually for us to sign off on. The other one is, there's no form for it. The second one for the 131. I would ask that they be done separately, please.
A motion that we approve the additional appropriation for the $2,800 from the Women's Health Fund.
I'll second
Motion and second. Is there further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Passes unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we allow the $131 to be put back into that account.
Second. The motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, respond by raising your right hand. Passed unanimously. Kim, your hand went up?
Yes.
Okay, passed unanimously.
Any other questions for the fellow on here?
Anything to report on the general well-being and healthiness of Whitley County?
So you might have saw on the news that there is a measles case in Allen County, officially a Cherubusco resident of Allen County. So that investigation has begun. There are a couple other people being investigated for measles. We don't know their home location yet, but it's in this area. But we're concerned because there is a large group of unvaccinated children in Indiana without measles. So we're concerned that that might spread since it's one of the most highly infectious illnesses. So that's something to think about. As far as COVID and flu and all that, it's on a downward trend. You might see people here and there, but overall that's going away as summer approaches. With that, unless you have specific questions.
Has there been an increase in immunization clinic with?
No. All the talk about measles and chickenpox and outbreaks across the United States has not brought anybody else in. I don't know if I don't think it's going to happen, but we're a little concerned about that, especially now with spring break occurring, kids at home, commingling on vacation, and now all this. So hopefully it'll pass us by, but we're ready to deal with it if it happens.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. Move forward then to the next item on the agenda, which are additional appropriation requests and a salary ordinance amendment. The first one that we'll look at is for the commissioner's assistant, please. Is there anyone here to speak on this?
I could speak on that if you would like, or Jeff.
I believe it was in the March meeting that council approved the recommendations from Wagner and Shealy for the commissioner assistant position, and they are recommending, and it was approved for that position to be a PAT 3. So there needs to be an amendment to the salary ordinance, and there needs to be an additional appropriation to cover those additional salaries for the rest of the year.
And I believe you guys voted to make that effective as of March 16th.
Does this have a number, or is it just, no, it's a resolution?
No, I just had to advertise, so it's just the additional.
I'll make a motion that we approve the additional appropriation for the commissioner assistant for $3,885.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, please? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. And let it be shown it was passed unanimously. Next one's out of probation department for an
This one, when you guys received your salary ordinance, some reason or another slipped through me, and 3 other people in my office didn't see his wages stayed at 2024 or 2025. So he's being paid correctly, but it was shown incorrectly on the salary ordinance. So we just need to fix him to make sure
he
his
was
account.
being paid correctly?
Yes, yes.
So we didn't get any violations from the state for not following?
No, because we're correcting.
Okay. Did we have anybody from the state contact us? Or was this just found locally?
Right, yep.
Okay.
Ed and I went back and forth with emails where he's sitting.
Ed, do you have anything to add to the conversation on this?
No, Tiffany has been great help. We caught it pretty quickly. We're just here more or less correcting the number.
Thank you. Is there a motion on this, please?
I make a motion for the probation officer of the 1496.
Second. Motion is second. Further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Let it be shown it was passed unanimously. Maintenance request for vehicle purchase and overtime. Mark?
And the vehicle purchase was approved in your November meeting. He just was able to get it this year, so I did attach those minutes in your packet. So again, just kind of a formality of getting those funds appropriated.
Mark, is this 55,459 in line with what you had presented to us when you got your quotes?
Yes.
Does it deviate at all?
Not that I know.
Is there a motion for the purchase of the vehicle, please?
I'll motion that we approve the additional appropriation for the $55,459 from county general.
And where was that vehicle from?
City Ford.
City Ford.
Second.
Motion and seconds. Or further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And it was passed unanimously. Mark, would you like to talk on the request for the $20,000 for overtime, please?
Yes, I'm here today requesting an additional appropriation in the amount of $20,000 for the overtime in the maintenance budget. We had $10,000 in there set in the budget for 2025. We have exhausted that, and I believe we are, to the best of my recollection, we are about $3,700 in the red already. I've given you an explanation sheet along with the request, kind of lays out how the money was spent. Through the first quarter, the $10,000 began to spent in the first quarter. I don't anticipate anything slowing down for the rest of the year. I believe the detention center will slow down a little bit to work out there, but we're still pretty far behind. We are at least 40 work orders behind right now.
Is there, Chad, as the head of commissioners, would you like to give us a briefing on why the overtime is so high and why we expect it to continue?
We had more income than weather, I think, than what we thought. And then there's been some great projects that you guys have been doing in-house, which is exactly what we've always wanted, is more in-house work instead of subbing everything out. But like, for example, we built a wall in the downstairs break room to divide that room in half, but now that's where we permanently store our voting machines. You all did a great job on that. There's just been a number of like one-off projects that we leaned into you for, and they've done a great job. But I think the need is real that we need to increase those hours because there's other things that are up and coming, right? Like we just talked about, and we don't, and I don't know yet, but we talked about a repair needed at a building, highway department, and just items like that that come up, and they're already spread so thin that the commissioners are supportive of the request.
So we're looking at this $20,000 as money that we're spending in-house rather than subbing things out. You think the majority of it is a reflection of that?
I don't know like ratios or any of that, but I mean, obviously, those hours will be spent in-house instead of spent on subbing work out.
I mean, we're still subbing some stuff out, but I think this is my opinion, this is a reflection of, we still need additional help in the department. I don't know that it warrants a full-time person right now, but this is just reflective of the detention center is going to require a tremendous amount of time. Everything in that building is electronic and computerized, from flushing the toilets to taking a shower to, it's completely different than the old jail. So Kyle was basically full-time out there. So I've basically lost him in doing any other work in the county. He does help when he can. So that doesn't leave a lot left for the other position to pick up and take care of. So, and then now with the purchase of the truck, the idea, part of the idea with that was that we would take over the snow removal this coming winter, which we previously outsourced. So that's going to drive up over time also.
So you're saying that there's more maintenance work that's being required at the new facility, jail, rather than compared to what you spent at the old one?
Yes, sir.
You don't think that's gonna chill out a little bit after things level? Like, I know right now, we'll get into this during the commissioner review, but right now, there's still the HVAC issues, right?
Yes.
Kyle is actively involved in, but we've not yet signed off on the HVAC systems. I mean, that's still warranty stuff that, you know, it's involved right now, but I think once they get it figured out, it'll chill out.
Correct. It will chill out.
I can remember part of the conversation, even clear back in the beginning, when we talked about a new jail, is maintenance issues and how maintenance requirements would go down. So that's why I asked that, because I'm surprised now that we're being asked to add a person when the initial feelings on it were that we were going to have less responsibilities. So that's why I asked.
I started asking for another person in 23, 24. And it was my understanding we were going to seriously look at that for the 2025 budget year, but then that got denied. So we went from $7,500 in overtime to $10,000, but again, we've exhausted that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, or is there a motion, please?
Is the $20,000 going to suffice for the rest of the year? We're only in April.
I can't say that. I don't know.
Well, this is one of those items, there's nothing you can, I mean, other than trying to rearrange how things are done. If he's running into overtime, he's running into overtime and he's out of money. So we're gonna have to support him. Just hope there's some way we can work around it to make it not so heavy.
What? I agree. I'd rather get $20,000. I take that comes from general fund. It comes from general fund instead of hiring another employee right now that's going to cost us a whole lot more than that. So I'd rather put a little money towards overtime than look into hiring another person right now. With everything that's going on in the government, I'm not in favor of another person.
You have a motion?
Is yours a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the $20,000 appropriation for the overtime fund.
Well, second.
Second, further discussion? Tim, you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm just gonna, I mean, I don't know what the numbers would be, but I think it's important. I've heard them say that they've taken on some of these extra jobs instead of outsourcing those, so I think that's important to note. I don't know what savings we've got there, but obviously if we're gonna do house, you know, work in-house ourselves without outsourcing it, then we're gonna have some savings there, so.
Mark, would a part-time person cover what you guys are short right now, or would you need a full-time employee?
I think a part-time person would definitely help out.
I appreciate the work that you guys do, and I know you have a small department that's tasked with quite a few buildings to take care of, and there's always special projects. So it's not my intention at all to say that you guys aren't responsible with the work that you do or the timely manner of it. That's without question. You guys do a great job. The only thing that I like to see and have discussions as far as with the commissioners is the fact that, you know, you're not an elected official. So at the end of the day, the responsibility of your department operating comes back to the commissioners, and that's why I like to involve them in making sure that they know exactly what you're doing all the time too. In my meetings with them, Chad always shares with me the projects that are going on. So we appreciate you, and keep up the good work. I have a motion and a second. If there's any further discussion, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. And it's passed unanimously.
Thank you.
The salary ordinance update.
Okay, so that brings us to the salary ordinance update, and it'll be titled as Ordinance 2025-08. And Tiffany, will you give us a brief overview of what exactly this is encompassing?
So that will cover the commissioner's assistant and the field officer that you just approved, as well as the verbiage on, I think it's the second page of that, about longevity. It used to state the $50 per year. We just changed that to an amount set by council. That way if there's ever a change again, we don't have to change that part.
Has this been dispersed to everyone?
Yes, yep.
What was that ordinance number again?
2025-08, please.
Make a motion we approve salary ordinance number 2025-08. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, please?
Okay, so explain that to me again, Tiffany. We're signing what now?
The updated, because anytime we make salary changes, we have to update it on
Okay.
our ordinance. So the commissioner's assistant increase is on there, as well as correcting the field officer. They should be highlighted in your packet, along with the verbiage for longevity. It used to state what a person was paid per year, but rather than listing a dollar amount, we just put the amount is set by council.
Okay, but we're not saying that they're gonna get in 2025, they're gonna get a 3% cost of living raise right now, are we? We're just,
2025, that's already been done. This is what you guys signed back in October.
Okay.
It's just updating just those three pieces.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion, please? All those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. And it's passed unanimously. And now we have a transfer in front of us to transfer government center lease funds to county general.
And I can speak on that. So we paid off this building in 2024, and there was some funds of $103,627.10 that were left. So I contacted State Board of Accounts, I contacted Ice Miller, our county attorney, kind of see what we're supposed to do with those funds. And after they looked at everything, they said it was appropriate to move those funds into county general rather than just leaving them sit in a fund that we're no longer using.
would we like to transfer those funds to county general so we can have it to spend?
I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer resolution, as stated, $103,627.10 to the general fund.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And it's passed unanimously. John, don't be losing any of this paperwork down there.
Yeah, they're all piled up.
All right. Tiffany, you have anything else? Well, I mean, as far as what we're working on right now.
No.
Okay. And I'll just leave the floor open to you. Do you have anything for us?
Not at this time, just the normal stuff.
Okay. Nick, anything to report from the Personnel Committee, please?
Trying to remember what we did do. I don't think we had any recommendations from our last meeting. We have a meeting today, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, there was nothing from the last meeting.
Thank you. Is there anything from any of the council members on boards or committees that you're on, the specific ones that you're assigned to from your meeting over the course of the last month to bring forward today? Or to just share? Nope.
I was I'm on the EMA board, and they had a training session last Thursday, I believe it was. It was Senior Officials Workshop for All Hazards. And Amy and Ed had it put on. Everything was covered by grants or through NIPSCO for the lunch, and it was a very good program. Tiffany sat in on it, and a few other department heads, so it was about a 6-hour meeting. Very good. I'll give EMA credit for being on top of what could happen in Whitley County.
Joe?
Just the new director at the senior center announced he's having an open house, which I believe is the 24th.
There's a letter right there on it. Right here. You'd think since I sent that letter, I could tell you the date right away.
It is Friday the 25th, 1:30 to 4, so if anybody can stop out, I think he's going to do a great job for the senior center.
Tim?
I attended Region 3A meeting a couple weeks ago. Had a presentation from a company that's based out of Fishers. Talked about how they help cities and towns and counties develop ordinances and maintain their ordinances. It was a good presentation. I did pick up some literature and some contact information. I can email it to everybody so you can kind of look at that. Yeah, but they work with especially folks that have very outdated and kind of unusable ordinances. So it's something we could look at if you're interested.
Very good. John?
Community corrections, construction, remodeling still going. That's about all you can add.
Appreciate that. I think we're ready for Commissioner's report, please.
One thing that I have is in February, I think it was you, Thor, that had asked about the jail with the contingency funds that were reimbursed. Just looking for more specifics on that. So I have that with me today. And for the total project, for the build, the project came in $7,905 under budget, so essentially right on budget. But in addition to that, there was $853,786.67 of contingency funds that were unspent. And the way that works is then that was applied to our final bill, to our final pay app that went out. So that left that balance in the fund, which is again 1233 lit, which is the correctional rehab facilities lit. And as of today, the cash balance in that fund is $7,339,984.32. So that's where that fund stands. I look for that to generate somewhere around 2.4 million in '25. And bond payments have started, and they're somewhere around 950, which I
I
haven't.
think it was
calculated.
947,500 we paid in December
Yep.
for January.
Yep. And those are twice annually paid in January and in July. And each payment will be around the same. Any questions about that?
So other than the bond payment, what else is paid out of that lit and what else is available that could come out of that account?
So when it was approved, when that tax was passed, it was passed at a time when you could still use 20% of it for operating expenses. So currently, it's not, I don't believe anything's been budgeted from that. We've utilized it in the past. Council has approved some one-off expenses, I think maybe for community corrections at one time.
That sounds right. I'd have to go back
But-
and look.
But as a rule, it's not being utilized for any operating expenses at this time. So that might be something that we look at during the budget cycle. But currently, there shouldn't be anything else budgeted from that except for bond payments.
What's the projection on, you said what you expect to come into it this year with the bond payments, or the additional bond payment that's got to come out yet this year? We should have a healthy fund for years.
It should be, yes. Yep, and of course, I'll remind everyone it's an income tax. I mean, it's the time of year where people are paying their property taxes, and there's some confusion on how the jail was funded. There's a misconception, I think, that people think their property taxes increased to pay for the jail. The jail is funded by an income tax, and of course, income taxes are dependent on the economy. People need to be working in order to pay income tax. So there's always the threat of it not doing quite as well. But when we approved that, when it was passed in, I think, 2019, it was projected to generate 1.7, and here we are in '25, it's generating somewhere around 2.4. And that was a 20-year bond. We borrowed $24,955,000. And of course, then the difference for the $34 million jail was cash on hand from many sources, ARPA and CEDIT and funds that the Redevelopment Commission generously donated to the project as well. So we had, the difference in cash on hand.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, and then in addition, Commissioner Basinger had reminded me this morning too that we should know in the next day or two on the broadband grant funding for those folks that applied for remind me the name.
Well, the next level connection, but also the BEAD funding. Again, you guys are probably going to, Dale, every time you come here, you say you're a couple days away. The administration change has kind of really aggressively affected some of these departments, and Okra has definitely been one of them. And they're managing these federal dollars. I will say, and not to hog the commissioner's report, 4 different providers applied for grants because so many of the community members who were underserved did the speed test, and we were one of the, good and bad news, we were one of the highest counties for available grant funding, but it also means we've got lousy rural connectivity.
Yep. And that's all I have. If anyone would like to see the work that Mark had done for the storage for voting machines, or hear any more about what the need was for that, I'm happy to go downstairs and show you. And we can also open up the other end of the hallway where Drug Task Force once was, if anyone's interested in seeing that vacant office space today. That's all I have.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes, the meeting, minutes from last month's meeting? And are there any additions or corrections as they were presented to you, please? Motion to accept, please.
I'll make the motion that we accept the March 4th, 2025 minutes.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor respond by raising your right hand. And they are passed unanimously. Anything for the good of the cause, please?
I will let you all know, I should have said this earlier, audit is starting. So just FYI, they'll be coming in very soon.
Okay.
Can we set a date that we're meeting on that? The calendars are filling.
I haven't heard from them on when they're actually gonna be in the building. They just kinda gave me the heads up.
One our budget meeting.
Oh, your budget meeting, sorry.
Have you thought about that? When we're gonna meet for budget?
You put out some dates.
It's
And I
usually
don't have those in front of me.
June.
You sent us some dates at one time. Let me see if I can find it. Did everyone get the email on that Tiffany sent on possible dates?
Remember when you sent that? It's been a few weeks, hasn't it?
Trying to see if I can find
Here's it, the only
Yeah, I got
blank position is all department heads a meeting with council starting today. We don't have a date for that. The rest of them are,
Or the normal meeting dates.
The last thing I had was on the 17th of March, saying that we would discuss it today.
Yeah, I don't think there was any date set. I think it was just,
I think
like,
if I remember right,
put
like you
it
were
on your
vacation
radar so we
maybe
can
in June?
find some
July.
dates.
Oh, July.
July will be out.
Okay.
Okay, so we're giving department heads till May 14th to have their reports into us.
Yep, to me, and then we'll make sure everything's
Yeah.
entered, get you your budget books at June, I believe.
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Yep, and then usually somewhere in June, you guys like to meet to look at everything and discuss with department heads.
All right, so let's look at our June calendars, please.
I can't do the 23rd through the 27th.
Our normal scheduled meeting is the 3rd. I wouldn't want to schedule anything the rest of that week, just so we can individually digest the information that we receive and are prepared to sit down together. So what does the second week look like of June?
I think I'm gonna be going, but just, if I'm the only one, don't, go ahead and set it.
What does June 17th look like for everyone?
good for me.
I can do that day.
Won't be for me.
It won't work for you?
That whole week won't work for me.
What about the 30th? June 30th, that's a Monday.
I'm good June 30th.
I'll be out of town on the 30th.
You said that week you're out of town.
I'm also out of town on the 30th.
Tom, are you going that entire week?
I'm not sure what my whole schedule is, so go ahead and set it. It could be, I could be here that day, yeah. It's not.
Well, I'm talking about the second week. You said
Yeah,
you
the
weren't-
second week, yeah, June 8th. Set it that day. I'm not sure exactly what days, so just pick a day and hopefully it works out. I'll try and make it work out.
During that second week, you said?
Yeah, during that second week, like
So would an earlier week or late week work better?
probably a 10th or 11th, I would say.
In June?
Okay.
Yeah.
What does June 10th look like for everyone?
Good for
Looks
me.
good.
Good.
I can do that. Should work fine. What day is that?
That's a Tuesday.
That should be fine.
Let's go ahead and schedule it for June 10th. And if you could contact me when you're ready to put that day together.
Sure.
And I'd like to come in and meet with you and let's talk about that. And I've got a few ideas on maybe how to streamline it and make it a little bit more user-friendly.
What time?
We'll start at 8 a.m. and I would plan the whole day, other than we'll take a lunch break, but I'm going to try to arrange it in a way that it keeps flowing with the, we've got some that are very quick.
Not a 2-hour lunch break, I hope.
Oh, if you need a 2-hour lunch break, Joan.
I don't.
Okay.
How about we do a working lunch and work through
Me
lunch
too.
and just get it done? Grab some sandwiches and just eat.
Like we did last year.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that. You want to make a note of that so we can
Yep.
work that into when we set up the schedule for that day?
Yep.
June 10th, 8 a.m. I think traditionally we're usually done by 2:30 or 3, so plan until 2:30 or 3, but I think we can probably be done before that. Councilman Barrett,
I have nothing additional.
Councilman Longabaugh,
Nothing.
Councilwoman Western, Councilman Warner,
Are we talking about Rob's letter after this?
Rob's what?
Rob sent that letter out, or are we going to discuss a few things on this with?
I was just communication. It wasn't necessarily anything that needs to happen, it was just so everybody's aware of. And it came, like you said, it came from me, it wasn't speaking for anybody else. So it was just wanted everybody to be aware of the options and where we're at, so nothing urgent at all.
Okay, so I guess I do have one thing to bring up. I've been in meetings, I've met with the commissioners, I've met with Whitley County Fire Chiefs Association. For some reason, I don't understand it all, but the Sheriff's Department dispatch said they are not going to pay to move the VHF radio system from the old jail when that day comes, and I don't understand why the Sheriff's Department and dispatch thinks it's the responsibility of the Fire Chiefs Association. I realized back, and I think it was 18 or 19, Washington Township Fire Department got a grant to buy those monitors for that VHF system. I understand that part. But the Sheriff's Department have used that all along until a year ago, or somewhere around there. We bought new monitors for the new jail. At that time, we were told that's all they needed. They didn't need anything else. Well, about 2 months later, they came and they needed an antenna out there. And now, it depends on what they do, if they have to move it, or what goes on. There's could be close to $40,000, $50,000 that needs spent to move the VHS system from the old jail to the new jail. And dispatch said they don't use it anymore, so they're not gonna pay for it. So I'm totally confused why the Sheriff's Department dispatch has the authority to say that they are not going to spend money to back a radio system that every volunteer fire department in Whitley County uses. I'm totally confused on this. I don't get it.
What goes into that cost?
To move the system and for yearly maintenance. Now, we're good until the end of 2025 as far as money. But I can't see the mayor letting us have this equipment over there forever. I would think someday it's going to have to be moved or something with it, but I'm just really confused why the sheriff's department, like I said, dispatch, they're not paying to move any of that when we were told a year ago that they didn't need anything else, we were good.
Have you
So
reached
that's
out
just
to the
some
sheriff?
discussion.
Have you reached out to the sheriff? I saw you got up and left, so he's not
No,
here, but have you reached out to
I
him?
was at a meeting with Janelle, the dispatcher, at the chief's meeting, and I said, I don't understand why you people aren't gonna pay to have this communication system moved. Well, we don't use it anymore, is the comment I got. So, food for thought that somewhere, come budget, which we're working on budget now, we're gonna have to find somewhere around $40,000-$50,000 to get it to move and to pay for the maintenance agreement. And if we move there, we're gonna lose a tower, then we gotta either move to the J&K's tower or to the county highway tower, according to these quotes I have here. So, something to think about come budget season, but I'm just confused a lot about it right now. So, that's all I have.
Councilman Wheeler?
I have nothing.
I'm good. Okay, and I have nothing else, so everyone enjoy your day, and we'll see you next month. We're adjourned.